We're back at it. We're up here at Stonywood doing lots of little chores. It's an absolutely beautiful day in the early spring. Temperature is about 70 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. The ground is reasonably dry. We had some really bad gusty winds earlier, but it's calmed down for the moment, so we're going to try to fly the drone a little bit. We've been doing a lot of work in the farmhouse today. Brought a lot of supplies up. We're going to do some painting. We're going to do some floor covering, a whole lot of cleaning, and some wall repair, just a lot of little things to do. We'll be working on that quite a bit. So we did a little bit of that today, and now it's in the later part of the afternoon, and we're going to try to do some outdoor chores since it's such a great day. So last weekend, we had an extremely heavy rainfall, what the locals around here call a frog strangler or a gully washer. And one nice thing about a gully washer is it does wash all the gullies out really good. It clears a lot of debris out of that. Unfortunately, with all the storms, we also got a lot of branches down, so we've got a whole new crop of branches to pick up. And so I'll kind of show you around. You can see right here, there's a branch that's down there. And then over there, some more branches I'll show you in a minute. And if you can see it, there's a drift line right here. This is where all the debris got washed out of the gully from the gully washer. And then we had another humongous gully washer down here. This brick right here came from about, I don't know, 100 feet that way. There's a whole bunch. These are some fairly good sized rocks that washed down. There's some more right there you can see. All these rocks. Ow. Right on a rock. So we got all these, this washed here, this right here, this washed from a good 100 feet away, back up that direction. The water pushed this rock all the way down here, along with all of this rock that's here. Those all rolled down here from at least 100 feet away. There's more over there. And so all of this is an area that I mow. And so all of this has got to be picked up. So that's kind of a problem. We got all these rocks in this area that I mow. There's some more over here, more rocks. And then over here, we've got some branches. Actually, this is the top part of a tree, which is laying here. That's the top part of a tree that broke off over there and fell. And this is a different top part of a different tree. And it's fallen here. Right here, this is the top part of a tree that fell. And there's several others. Here's the gully that got washed out real good. This gully had a lot of weeds. There was a lot of weeds growing along through here. And fortunately, there's some rock that kept it from washing out worse. You can see the buck bushes. This is buck bush. And they didn't get washed away. But they're all, this is how high the water got to. This is debris that's stuck in the top of these buck bushes. So this is how deep the water was here. And this is, as you can see, this is grass. This is not part of the ditch. This is out of the ditch, and it was at least this deep at one point. So that qualifies as a frog strangler for sure. It definitely washed the gully out. And you can kind of see here where it stripped everything out. And here, okay, so here is some more. This is a drift line right here. This isn't really technically in the ditch. The drainage is over there. So this deep, water this deep. That's how much water we got last weekend. And it's all completely drained off now. It's totally gone. It stripped this whole drainage out all the way down. Fortunately, it didn't strip out all the grass right here, but it stripped out some. It really cleaned the gully out real good. So it washed all the way down through there, and it goes all the way out past the front gate into my neighbor's property. This just got bigger as it went downstream. There's a number of places up here in the woods. In fact, I'll show it to you. Right over here, if Neo can make it without crashing. I didn't bring y'all in a good way, but this right here, I don't know if you can see it, but right here on the ground, this is where a whole lot of water, as you can see, a whole lot of water came down from the woods up this way. So that all washed down into this ditch and added to the problem. So and it washed all this out. I don't know if y'all can see that too good, I don't know. But this is the ditch. This is the drainage. And you can see more of the debris caught up in the bushes there, and you can kind of see how high that was. So I would have been about this high in water if I were standing here. Another thing I wanted to show y'all that's really interesting, we have an artesian well here, and it comes up under this tree. I'm going to try to get it so that Neo can see what I'm doing. But right in here, I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but there's this whole thing, this whole area right here is an artesian well, and it was going like crazy. I wish I had video to show you, but I don't. So hopefully the next time it's going good, I'll be able to get some video for you. It runs every time that it rains. Every time that it rains, this artesian well flows pretty good. But it's not running now. It's only been a week, exactly a week today, and that's completely stopped. And the ground is even dry down in there. So anyway, but it's interesting. I just think that's amazing how much water we got, and some of the big rocks that were moved by the water. So over here I've got some branches I've got to pick up and move. There's some more branches over here. Down there is the top of that tree that broke off back a month or so ago. I've still got to clean that up. All of this stuff has got to get dragged. All the branches have to be dragged down there to the burn pile, which is quite a ways from here. It's probably a couple 100 meters. I would say about 200 meters. So I may take that in the truck, or I may walk it down there. I don't know which one will be better right now. And then back up here, toward the farmhouse, all through that ditch, we have all those rocks that I showed you, and all of those got to be picked up before the grass gets high and I can't find them. I'll find them when I run over it with the lawnmower, and that's not how I want to find those. That's not the good way to find big rocks. You don't want that. So I've got to get those rocks up, at least the big ones. I may not be able to get every one because some of it's gravel, but I got to try to do that. I'm going to try to get that done today before it gets dark. So we'll see what kind of luck I have with that. That's a lot on my plate for right now. But the weather is phenomenal. I don't know if you can see the flag up here or not, but the flag is starting to flap, and it was starting to flap, so we may have some more gusty winds coming up. This is nice right now. It was really kicking. I'd say the wind was gusting about 35 miles an hour earlier. So this is nice. It's real nice right now. So anyway, that's my plans for the rest of the afternoon. And a whole lot of branches to drag and a whole lot of rocks to pick up. So I might be able to do it today. I'm not sure. There's another branch that's down. I've got to drag that down there too. So there's plenty. Anyway, hey y'all. So we're up in Hooten Hollow. This is the back pond behind me. Something interesting, I don't know why, but all the algae has now died, and all that bright green algae that was on the pond 2 weeks ago, all gone. I think it got washed off the pond. I think we had so much water that came through, it lifted it up and washed it right over the top of the dam. I think that's what happened to it. So we don't have any algae anymore, so that's awesome. But we did have a little bit of storm damage from all of the water that came through here. So I'm going to take you around real quick and show you. And also, I'll give you an update on how our fires went. The 2 fires we did at one time, I'll show you how they went. Anyway, so we'll come over here and I'll show you something. Now this is new. So there's the back pond. And then right over here, we got a gravel bar. That wasn't there before. That's new. We've got a whole pile of gravel out in the pond that didn't used to be there. That all washed down the ditch from way up in the hollow. So that's just really interesting that we got all of that. So it washed down through here really strong. This was already kind of like this, but it certainly cleaned it out. It cleaned all the weeds out of there and all the debris and everything and cleaned it up real good. I guess that's why they call it a gully washer. And so then this is one of the fires that we had. This is one of them right here. And it mostly burned up. There's some drift over here where when the water was flowing down this ditch, it flowed through where the fire was. So I'm sure some of the fire that didn't burn got washed into the pond probably. Hopefully not a lot. But anyway, this is what's left of the fire. It mostly burned up. It did a pretty good job. And then here is our new drainage ditch. I repositioned this several years ago. And it was not this deep before. This is new. It didn't used to be that deep. It really washed it out. Right here, it didn't wash too bad. That's good. But anyway, so and it's still flowing. This is, there's a couple of springs up here. This isn't too bad. I'm pretty happy with this. Surprised it didn't wash it out a lot worse. So anyway, this is pretty good. It did clean it out really good. And we're going to take some of the rocks that are over there and put them in this ditch so that it'll keep the soil from washing any more. That's a pretty good level where it's at. That's pretty good. We had a lot of water coming right through here. Water from up the hollow. Several streams come through here. And then we also have a stream coming this way. We got a stream coming that way. And then the main stream, which comes from the little spring, which is up there. And so, I don't know how well you can see this, but it stripped this ditch out pretty deep, all the way up to the spring, which is, I can see it right up there. So, we had a lot of water. There was a lot of water that came through. So, anyway, so it washed some additional gravel down that we didn't used to have right through here. And so, but it didn't wash horribly bad. I don't really consider this to be a problem. So I'm really happy about that. This worked out pretty good. The original ditch is right over here. So, the original ditch is right through here. This is where it used to be. And I just moved it about probably 3 or 4 meters over to make it work out better. It's easier for me to bush hog around it over there than the way it was. So anyway, this is the larger of the 2 fires that we had. So, and there's quite a bit of water. There's quite a bit of water that flowed through here. I don't know if you can see that, but there's quite a bit of water that flowed through here. There was some kind of critter hole right here, probably an armadillo. And we had so much water that washed through here, it actually filled his hole in. But you can see that the log burned up significantly. That's about as good as I was hoping for it to do, honestly. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So now I'll show you this other thing, which is kind of interesting also. So just about every year, we have a really big rainfall where there's just a tremendous amount of water that comes through. Just about every year, sometimes it's 2 or 3 times in a year. But typically about once a year in March, we have this tremendous downfall. I think we got, I forgot, 2 or 3 inches of rain and within like 6 hours, something like that. Anyway, it's a lot of water. And it would wash gravel and rocks and debris, sometimes trash, from way up in this hollow, which is not part of my property. And it comes down this drainage, and the drainage stopped right here, and then the yard out here would just fill up with these big drifts of gravel. Several years ago, after cleaning up a tremendous mess, I decided to try something different, and I got the Mini X. I rented the Mini X, and I dug this ditch over here, and I put a culvert in right here. You might not be able to see it, but there's a culvert under here that goes across here so that I can get the tractor across to the other side. But anyway, so right up there is where the water comes from. It comes through this culvert, and it comes out and it flows down through here. So I wanted to make sure that it would capture all the water that comes down through here, and it did a great job at catching the water. It did a good job. Here's some of the debris I was talking about. I got a glass jar that survived the trip from somewhere way up there. I'll set that over there before it breaks. So, but anyway, yeah, there's a lot of water that came through here. I can tell. I don't know if you all can tell on the video, but it stripped the grass out here on one side. There's a pretty good flow of water. And it came down through here. It did not flow out into the yard. It came down this ditch that I made, and it flowed out into here. And this is all the rocks and gravel that came down from up above. And it's all here in the ditch that I made. So that's just wonderful. It came out here, and I made this so that it would the ditch would shallow out, because the water's got to go somewhere. It's got to eventually go somewhere. So I made this ditch where it gets more and more shallow, and you can kind of see here in front of me, it just kind of flattens out. And so it did really, really well. And I don't know if you can tell or not, but this is a drift line here of all kinds of sticks and dead leaves that wash out of the ditch. This is the debris that normally would be all over the yard before I made this ditch. So I'm pretty happy with how it worked. It came out here on the driveway, which is where I intended for it to come out. Here's some more. This is the only part of it right here. This is the only part. You can see how big those rocks are. It's big gravel, I guess. Some of it's bigger than others. And but this is all that I've got to clean up, and that's pretty good. Usually in the past, it was much, much worse than that. So I'm just really pleased. And here's where it flowed out. It came out of the ditch right here, and it flowed out, but not so much in one big place. It kind of spread out, which is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted it to do. So that's my new ditch project, and it worked out tremendously. I'm very pleased with how that worked out. So we can make some minor adjustments to it, but for the most part, that's really, really good. And so so that flowed into the pond, and then like I said, we had a lot of water. Apparently, it stripped off all the algae, and it caused this gravel bar over here, which is new. So we're back where we started from, and so that's it. We didn't have any serious damage at all. I'm really pleased. I have not gone and looked at the overflow for the pond just yet. I'm a little worried about that, but that's next. I'm going to go check that out and see what's going on with it. But I'm going to take the truck and move it down to the other part of the property, and then I'll check that out. Hope it can't be too bad because the pond is full of water, so that's good. Anyway, we're up here in Hooten Hollow, and it's real late in the day. It's almost sunset pretty soon. Not quite yet. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.